On this episode of Fly Fishing Unfiltered, we feature winter steelhead fly angling, covering type, color, and speed of water, as well as the gear and flies needed for a successful outing. Hey everyone, David Northwest Fly Fishing Outfitters coming to you with another Fly Fishing Unfiltered. And today I'm joined by...
Zach Carruthers,
Colbs,
and Gabe.
And today we are talking winter steelhead. So we are into winter steelhead season right now, and we want to break down, as we did summer steelhead, we want to break down for you all what we're doing for winter steelhead here in the Pacific Northwest. And we are going to focus on both Washington and Oregon because we've got some great winter steelhead rivers. So as we get into this, I want to start today by talking about the type of water that we're looking for winter steelhead. So let's start first with turbidity and color. I hear a lot of talk about steelhead green. You as guides and as diehard steelhead anglers, does it matter to you, the color of the water? So Gabe, go ahead. You're shaking your head yes.
Yeah, I mean, the fish are going to be way less spooky. They feel a little safer from prey, boats floating over. I mean, all sorts of things. It gives them a little more color. That's kind of why you want to fish it on the drop. When it's dropping, it's coming into a little clear water where it's not super dirty. They can see your fly, but they also feel a little safer, and they're more inclined to bite. When it gets super low and clear, they're going to go into a lot of the deeper, tankier stuff, which is a lot tougher to get to with the fly rod. I mean, they will sit in some shallower stuff, but they feel a little more safe with color.
Okay, Colby, how about you? Steelhead green. What does steelhead green mean to you?
It means go. It means fish.
And is it literally like a green color?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's like an emerald green almost.
Green.
It's like an emerald green color. It could be more blue depending if there's a lot of clay. You'll see that on the OP.
Okay.
Good color is good. I want a little bit of color in the water. To what Gabe said, clear sucks. It's very spooky. It's very difficult fishing. I would love anywhere between like 2 to 4 feet of visibility. I think that's fantastic.
Okay.
I've caught them in less than 2, but it's harder to do. I've caught them in 10 feet of visibility and more, but it's just few and far, and it's really hard.
Okay. How about you, Zach?
Oh, I love it. I mean, like I said, it's the juice. That green, when you drive past it, it's just something calls you in there. And yeah, we do like that color because it makes them feel safer. It also kind of dictates how we fish, how many steps you take in between your swings. If there's a foot or two of visibility, I'm going to shorten my steps. The greater distance that we feel a fish can see our fly, the more steps I'm going to take. And so, it's all about it.
But you will not go fishing just because it's lower and clear.
We still go.
I mean, that's a judgment call.
Okay.
I still go.
You won't catch them from the couch.
That's very true.
Absolutely.
And that's the point we love to drive home on these videos. You're not going to, by sitting on your ass, you're not going to catch anything. So that's good. I appreciate the clarity. Let's talk about speed of water. Does it differ from summer steelhead type of water? Are we looking for different type of water? And if so, what are we looking for? Colby, we'll lead with you.
It is night and day different than summer steelhead. The big thing there are oxygen levels and water temperature.
Okay.
Water temperature leads to a higher oxygen level, so those fish don't need as turbulent water. They don't need all that oxygen because the colder water holds it better. So they're going to sit in slower stuff. You're not going to find them in the fast riffles that you would find summer steelhead.
Okay.
So I would say most folks, especially if they're coming from like a trout outlook, are going to be fishing water that's too fast.
Okay.
Yes, they could be sitting on there in there deep enough, but generally you want slower water, a man's walking pace.
Walking speed is what you hear oftentimes.
I think I mentioned this in the summer steelhead video, but a good way when I was learning rivers and trying to get familiar with runs is you can go to the bank, pick up a leaf, just drop it in the water and walk next to it. If it's outrun you, it's going to be too fast for the fish, but it gives you a better idea of how that'll swing. Obviously, it's just the inside, but it will help you a little bit identify it.
And also make sure that you if you can see or if you know what's going on the bottom. They do like structure, and you got to remember that the top of the water, the speed of that is going to be much different. So if it is more bouldery, you can get away with fishing slightly faster water if you're using a heavier sink tip, because right down there on the rocks, it will be a little slower underneath. But generally, yeah, walking speed, pace, everything's a little slower, a little more chill in the winter, and so yeah, we go for them and the slow stuff.
And the fish themselves, will they move farther or closer to a fly that's being swung winter typically versus summer? Is it about the same?
Different. Totally different. Less. Significantly less.
Okay.
Fish.
Older.
Yeah. So fish are ectotherms.
Yep.
The environment dictates their temperature, and so cold water means cold fish. Cold fish means less responsive to stimuli, and so they're less inclined to move further or as far as a summer steelhead. But you will have days in the winter where you get like a warm spell.
Yeah.
They'll be way more receptive. You won't have to be as deep. But on those cold days, yeah, you're going to have to be down near their face.
Okay. And go ahead.
Oh, and I do feel like winter steelhead will still move a little bit side to side, just less up and less come up for the fly. But they'll still chase down some things. They'll follow from behind structure, and they'll chase something down, but they don't go up as much.
So
you gotta get down.
Since they're not moving as much, do you find fish following and eating on the hang down still? So you'll still have that.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily we got to get that fly right in front of its face every single time. It will follow that fly down to the hang down.
Every fish is different, but there will be fish that will follow flies and eat them on the hang down. I'm just saying they're not going to move 12 feet out of their way to
Sure.
grab a fly and come back down to their lie like
Okay.
you might get a summer steelhead.
Okay. And you talked a little bit about depth in terms of just kind of what you're looking for. So from your guys' vantage point, when you're out guiding, and our rivers right now are totally different than they have been in a very long time. So we're kind of going out and relearning some water that we've all fished. As you're looking at new water and put yourself in the seat of these people that are maybe just getting into steelhead, what is the depth of winter steelhead? Like, what kind of water are they holding in depth-wise?
I'll jump on that. I mean, geographically, that's going to be a big difference.
Okay.
Right, so you're going to have a difference in the type of river or the valley system. The substrate of the river is
Yeah.
going to be different. Whether it be like on the North Umpqua,
Okay.
it's hard ledge rock, so you will find fish farther down, and you have to get down very quickly.
Okay.
Whereas if you went to like maybe the Skeena, where you don't need to be that deep, but also the whole thing is so gradual.
True.
It just varies. From place to place.
So for you, there isn't like a go-to, I'm fishing 5 feet in depth. It's just going to be...
It is somewhat constrained by our tackle, right?
Okay.
So like the gear guy or the bobber guy is going to get deeper and better
Sure.
spots. So I'm looking for water that, let's say, is 3 to 7 feet deep. I think that's a pretty good average right there.
Okay. And I know in our summer steelhead video, we talked a lot about buckets and structure. We're still looking for that type of water in the winter, correct? So we're still looking for buckets. We're still looking for larger boulders. Just it may be a little deeper depending on water clarity and some other factors. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Structure is structure.
Okay. Anything else in terms of identifying water, whether it's the coast, whether it's here in the metro region, whether it's rivers in Washington or down south? Anything else that you guys are looking for the ideal run for swinging for steelhead?
For me personally, when I'm standing in a run, I'm trying to find kind of like obviously a river runs downhill,
right?
But you'll notice there will be flatter spots, small little buckets. I hate to say it, but areas where the water softens or flattens, or there's a rock there. Or it could be 2 feet or 3 feet or 12 feet. But I'm looking for also I believe the word is laminar.
Yeah.
Straight flowing, consistent water.
Maybe linear.
Linear, laminar, one of those. I think it's laminar.
Okay.
I'll bet on laminar.
All right.
Yeah.
You have more?
No, that's flatten, where things flatten, soften, where a fish could rest, and it's uniform water.
There we go. Okay.
I believe that I said this in the summer steelhead video too, but infinity pool. If you stand at the head of a run, you look down and it looks like it just goes and just drops off. It's pretty flat. It's going to, for the most part, be pretty slow. and usually pretty good.
Excellent.
Look for little jiggles on top too. That means
Nervous
structure.
water.
And I like a little jiggle on top. Makes them feel good.
Okay, well, we're getting real awkward now. I was actually just fishing with Eric recently up in Washington. We've been doing some exploration up in Washington, and he talked about a choke point. So this is something that we didn't necessarily cover in the summer steelhead. I want to talk about what a choke point is, whether or not it's something that we do want to focus on in winter steelhead fishing. Gabe, I know when we were on the Skeena, you already landed all the fish in the river, and so you're like, I'm gonna let Gabe or Ethan and David go fish some water, and you went and you fished a choke point, and lo and behold,
Caught a fish.
you caught a fish. This is exactly what you're talking about.
I know. That's what I say. He doesn't even believe me.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Yeah.
So choke points. Let's walk through what a choke point is, and is this something that we should also be focusing on in winter steelhead fishing? So who wants to tackle that?
I've answered too many.
Okay.
Well, just basically, we're looking for. It's when we're looking to read water. You kind of start out small. You kind of start with the micro and then kind of zoom out, and you start paying attention to what the river's doing. What are the likely places where fish are going to go up? Because we do think that they're efficient. They're going to try to use less energy, probably especially in the winter because it's colder. Flows are higher, and so if you look down and kind of like rivers that you think of all the areas where it might be super fast on one side, they're going to take the easy way, and then there's certain places where you're looking and you just realize with different braids or whatever, like it all kind of comes to a spot, and you're kind of like, clearly, if I was a huge steelhead, this is where I'm going to go, and you look for those spots that kind of choke everything down and kind of bottlenecks where everything would go through.
So if you identify that spot, if I'm thinking of a steelhead, typically you're going to have faster water. They're trying to move up through that faster water, right? They're not typically holding in the faster water.
They're not holding, but they're traveling up the soft
They're
stuff.
traveling up. That's what I wanted to get to. They're going to travel up a soft seam. So when Gabe was on the Skeena, you had the faster moving choke point, but on the edge of that, there's soft seams. And that's typically where a steelhead is going to be traveling up through that faster water, correct?
Yeah, a lot of times you can. I mean, choke points aren't going to be your A run. Like, I'm going to row down or I'm going to walk in and fish this choke point. For me, they're just a super quick stop. Usually they're short. I mean, especially on a lot of our bigger rivers, our choke points aren't going to be hundreds of yards long. It's going to be a pretty short little run. But it's worth fishing. You know, you never know. You might run into a moving fish. But if you find a choke point that has depth, structure, and everything else that you're looking for, I love that. That's one of my favorites for sure.
And we're typically talking in these spots not as far a cast as necessary.
No.
Not always.
Not always. Okay, I think that's great. Anything else you guys want to talk about in terms of the type of water for winter steelhead fishing?
Slower than you think.
Slower than you think. I'm going to throw one monkey wrench into this. We love swinging for steelhead, but some people that are newer to winter steelhead fishing, they may want to get out there with an indicator set up. Are we fishing the exact same water with an indicator?
No, you can go deeper with an indicator. You can fish slower things. You can fish some faster things, some seams, and also things that you can't get to, especially if you're in a boat.
Right.
Things that we couldn't swing are definitely, you got a good chance just because you can fish more water in different water columns for sure.
There's some rivers. I know you and I and Eric are going to go and fish some rivers up in Washington that have a chance for probably more nymphing than swinging. The Hood River is another river that is kind of a prime example. It doesn't necessarily have the greatest swing runs, but has some good water for nymphing. So overall, we can get deeper for winter steelhead if we're willing to get a little dirty. Correct? I know, Colby, you hate it.
Some of us don't like. Some of us like keeping our hands clean.
Yeah, well, that's okay. But remember, there's other people out in this world besides yourself with other viewpoints.
I agree. Yes, and they're welcome to it as well.
And so those fish, we can pick them up in significantly deeper water typically than what we're talking. What about faster moving water? We're talking really slower moving water, slower than you think of when we're talking spey fishing. How about nymphing? Is it same speed?
The same speed. I mean, because you want to fish where the fish are, and the fish are going to want to be lazy because they're traveling. So they're still going to take the soft side of a piece of water.
Okay.
It's just you're going to be fishing it differently because it's it's going down the hall as opposed to across the house.
Okay.
Colby brought up a good point for faster water one time when I was fishing with him. Think of a fish as like a jet turbine. I mean, they don't want to sit in the faster water and swim up or do whatever and waste all that energy or fuel in the fast water if there's slower water 5 feet over. They're not going to sit there or really move there because it's a lot more work. So that's another.
And our coastal rivers tend to be a little bit smaller. We're going to cover gear here in a minute. Similar water, though, to some of our larger, more metro rivers. Are we looking at bigger boulders and is it different at all on the coast?
Well, it's always different. It's always different. I mean, every river is different.
Sure.
Some are high gradient, some are low gradient. Sometimes you're going to fish a coastal river up in the upper section where it is a higher gradient, and then you can fish the lower section, which is a lower gradient. Both of those areas will play differently to how you want to go fishing. So it just depends. But there's good nymph water on every river, and there's good swing water on every river. It's just you gotta find it and know it, and at what level does it need to be at to swing it.
Okay, excellent. Well, I think that's a great start in terms of understanding the water. So next, let's get into some of the gear for winter steelhead fishing because it is different. Colby, you and I filmed a couple of videos recently, the difference between Skagit and Scandi lines. We talked a little bit about tips in that video. I want to expand on tips because it really is an important component of winter steelhead fishing. So we're going to touch on tips and really get into the rods that we're using for the winter. So let's go ahead and get to it. All right, so we have covered the type of water, and hopefully that helps our viewers understand both for swinging and for nymphing, the kind of water that we're looking for winter steelhead. I want to talk a little bit now about the gear that we're using. So we're going to start with the lines, and we'll move towards rods that we're using, rods that we really like this time of year, focusing on, again, various different types of water. So let's first start. Colby, you and I filmed a video on Skagit versus Scandi, so I don't want to get too in-depth over that. This time of year, we are fishing Skagit.
Yes.
Right? We're getting down to where the fish are. These Skagits are designed for throwing heavy tips. And we know that. So we talked about in the video also the grain of the Skagit line is really going to be dictated by the rod for the most part, and most of our rods today give us a designation of what weight grain is ideal for that rod, and it's a window, and it kind of depends upon you as a caster what is best, right?
That was good. That was
thank
good.
you. I've been practicing.
You were listening.
I was listening. I watched that video several times.
Or you edited it like 18 times. Yeah.
So I want to talk more in this segment on gear about tips. And we've got a wide variety in this shop of tips from T8 to now T9. We've got 5 foot and 10 foot, and I want to really help viewers understand when they should be selecting certain tips. So let's get into that. Let's talk a little bit about the difference of tips, what the difference between T8, T9, T10, T12, what the difference is, and then how do you as guides select the length of that tip?
Copy. I'll jump on that one. So the T tips, the tungsten tips, they're impregnated tips. The number corresponds to the number of grains of tungsten per foot.
Okay.
So T8 has 8 grains of tungsten per foot. So if you have a 10-foot tip, that should be about 80 grains.
Okay.
So that's kind of how you can work a lot of that out. Certain weights, let's say of both heads and rods, have an appropriate tip weight that can kind of work with the whole ensemble. But I would say your general ones for most Spey casting are going to be 10 feet or 12 and a half feet. That's kind of usually where that lies. The shorter ones are easier to cast, but also easier to blow an anchor because you have a shorter tip.
Yeah.
The longer ones tend to be sometimes a little harder to cast because they're a little bit longer, but you don't blow them as bad of the anchors.
Yep.
And they also get a little deeper because they're longer. I know, blowing things. I can hear you laughing.
Yeah. We're nothing but professional here.
Yeah, grow up, games. And so you'll vary your tip length for how much depth you need. But yeah, 10 feet's kind of where it maxes out in terms of or it shortens. Any shorter, it gets kind of crazy.
Okay.
And 12.5 feet's usually a good place. The old adage is about a sink tip about the length of your rod. So I think most of it's settled at 12.5 feet.
12.5 feet is kind of your go-to.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's going to be somewhat dictated, though, of speed of water, depth of water that we're trying to get to.
Yes, speed and depth.
Yep.
The other thing to mention, if it's super high and dirty, fish are going to be in shallow. You're going to want a light tip. There's no point in dredging out in the middle where they can't see your fly. They're going to be moving inside in the slow water and moving up the river. So when it's super high, you're going to throw a T8 tip on. When it's kind of that steelhead green, that's when I throw a T11, and then low and clear is when I throw a T14 on, when you have to get down to them. So they kind of each have their own application weight-wise or sink-wise too. Yeah, just wanted to add that.
And that is a little counterintuitive
I know.
what you think when the river's higher,
I
but
know.
it is true. I was throwing 14 all day.
You were throwing 14 all day.
Oh, well, I'm trying to get.
You don't got to go to the gym now.
I'm trying to get. I don't go to the gym. But no, I've been trying to just get low, get down, and sometimes like this, especially at the beginning of the season, I like to put some weights on my bat and give her a few swings, and I try to find bottom and then work my way up from there, and found a lot of bottom today. But I also found a lot of night. It's also good to kind of see what you're working with, and sometimes when you're in a run, when you first jump in, and especially when you're new to this, kind of throw your sink tip in the water and watch where your fly goes in about the speed that you're gonna go. A lot of times it's not down as deep as you think it is. For sure. And so it's always good to just see and observe.
So when you're out on the water, do you have the full spectrum of tips with you at all times?
I have a boat box, so yes.
Yeah. And so will you work your way through a run with a certain tip, and then you just didn't feel like you got a good depth in that run, and you'll switch out a tip and swing through it again? Do you ever do that?
Well, it's different. I guess
We're stubborn.
Well, stubborn, but also
yeah.
I don't know. My mind goes to I'm guiding. I've got a person up front. He's going to go lighter. I've got a person in the back.
Gotcha.
They're going
Yeah,
deeper.
That makes sense.
I'm probing the same water twice at the same time.
Gotcha. That makes perfect sense.
But if you're, Joe Schmo walking into hippie hole.
Joe Schmo, this video's for you.
Yeah. My heart
Also-
goes out to you.
Hippie hole is
A little different?
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
River right looks great.
Yeah.
Left looks pretty hard.
Pretty hard. But
Yeah.
they're going to walk into a piece of water. They're going to hopefully start shallower.
Yep.
With a less deeper tip, because they're your first pass. You want to cover the soft water, the inside, we keep saying.
Yeah.
And then, so long as there's no one back up at the top of the run, you should run through it again with a deeper, a heavier tip or a heavier fly and probe some of the deeper water.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And thank you for saying so long as there's no one at the top of the water, because we are going to do a video on river etiquette. That is something that I think we need to have some videos out there. There is a lot of piss poor river etiquette that takes place out there.
Learn it first.
What's that?
We need to learn
Oh,
it
do we?
first. And then we'll do a video on it.
But I'm glad that you mentioned that, because we do need to be respectful of other anglers out there.
Absolutely.
And there's only so many rivers out there to fish winter steelhead, and we got to share water. So don't hoard it. I've heard some stories of some guys that have gotten out to certain runs, for instance on the Sandy, and they own that run for almost an entire day, and it's not cool. So we covered tips. Let's talk a little bit about leader now. Length of leader, color of leader, test of leader. What are you guys doing?
Take it away, boys.
I'm an ultra green man myself.
Okay.
And so Maxima, ultra green. I go with 15 pound in the winter just because I'm scared. You're gonna. I don't want to lose stuff, dude. I'll lose fish and plenty of other reasons, but if I snap just because I didn't put on some, that's something that'll keep me up at night, and I like my sleep these days.
Yeah.
I'm about whatever that is. I'm about that. I'm
About shoulder width apart? Or just
yeah, a little
beyond?
bit longer.
Yeah.
I give her one good pull out to here. That's probably about 4 feet.
Okay.
About 4 is what I do. What do you guys do?
I don't know, I've bounced around. I used to be a Maxima Ultra Green guy. Now I think I'm like a Cigar, Invisex, Fluorocarbon. I've had to go up in poundage because it is a thinner diameter.
Right.
I use tubes, so sometimes that thin diameter will pull through a tube. So I use 15, 17, or 20. Sometimes we put on the tippet that is not exactly the fish we'd expect, but the fish we hope for.
Yep.
And
That's
so,
the job you want.
yeah, you got to be prepared. You never know when the big one climbs on. And then I'm 3 to 4 feet.
Okay.
Generally, I'll play with that and lengthen it if I need more depth, but generally it's 3 to 4 feet, which for me is, I think, more like this.
Okay.
Sternum to
Sternum
end
to
arm.
end
Something like
arm.
that. Yeah.
Okay. How about you, Gabe?
Probably same on length, 3 to 4 feet. I'm really lazy when it comes to. I put these spools literally everywhere. So
I can attest to that.
Some days I'll be fishing 10 pounds, some days 15, 20. I don't think the poundage matters a ton. The one thing I will touch on with the poundage, the thicker this is, the more or the less your fly is going to move or your leader is going to move. If you have a little thinner, the water is going to catch that and it's going to make your fly move a little more. You do lose some of that break strength. But I mean, even with the 10-pound Maxima, it's thick. It's
Pretty strong.
So you're
It's
just
hard
what you're
to-
saying is the line itself is more rigid when you start getting up into the heavier test, so you get less movement in the fly.
100%, yeah. When you go down, though, you do risk getting sawed off way easier.
And
That's
you
the
don't
only thing.
you don't find that these fish are leader shy.
No.
Like
Not really.
Not if there's color.
if there's color, right?
I was just curious. I'm like, I'm not going to change this tip. I caught fish with like a foot a leader.
And it's how you're swinging it when you guys can imagine if my fly's swinging at your face. It's not like we're nymphing or this dry fly where they'd see it. They're seeing it kind of butt
From
first
the ass
swinging
end,
at 'em,
yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully if you're presenting it correctly, they shouldn't even see it.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say if it is, sorry to jump
Okay.
in, but if it is super low and clear, I think downsizing your tippet or lengthening your tippet can give you a little bit of assistance. But
Okay. And you don't, Colby, really have a preference on colors. It doesn't really matter to you.
I don't give a shit, no.
Yeah, it's fair enough. Let's jump into rods. So I know, Colby, you have kind of your go-to rod. I just wanted to touch on this for the viewers. Are we fishing still our standard Spey rods? When we're talking Spey, are we looking, as we look at some of these coastal rivers, which are smaller rivers, are we looking at switch rods? Are we looking at shorter rods? What's your guys' experience on that for people that maybe want to get beyond the Sandy, the Clackamas, some of our larger rivers? So let's start with you, Zach. Kind of what's your go-to fly rod right now? And then if we can touch on what we do on smaller rivers for winter steelhead.
Yeah. I bought a really nice Spey rod when I could afford it. And so I got a 13.3 7-weight Winston that kind of does everything. I've got a few other sticks. I do have a shorter one for the coast. I've got my friend gave me a 12-foot 8-weight red truck, and I love it. I didn't think that I was kind of the first time throwing a shorter rod, and I just didn't think it would go as far, but it's buff.
Yeah.
The thing hucks, and
Thank you, James.
I kind of like it. Yeah, James is the best. So that's kind of what I'll use that on the coast.
So on the coast,
smaller
you are
ones.
going a smaller
I will.
stick.
Yeah.
Okay. Colby.
Yeah, I carry 8 weights in the winter. We're throwing sing tips. There's really not a whole lot finesse to it. I'd rather have a longer, stronger lever to do all that work. So for me, if I'm on a large gravel bar or 95% of the metro area, I'm going to use it's a G Loomis Ask With, but it's a 13.5-foot 8 weight.
Okay.
That for me is my go-to, unless I'm in some smaller water and I need a short stick. That's going to be the NRX Plus 8110, so it's an 11-foot 8 weight.
Okay.
It's basically at that length, it's a switch rod.
Okay. Gabe.
Yeah, I really love the Beulah Guide Series, Platinum.
Yep.
The 7132. That rod's sweet. But I will mention another one that me and Colby just got to try out. Winston just came out with their new lineup of Spey rods, and their 81 33 Air TH2 long
They make
name.
these any
Ooh.
more
I know
difficult.
it's a tongue twister to get out.
Duh.
But that rod was sweet. I liked it very much. And then the little switch rod I use, it's super cheap. The Echo Swing, super short for $375. I love it. I mean, I don't use switch rods a ton, just because I do like to have a little longer length so I can control the speed of my swing a little better. But for a rod that you're going to use every once in a while in a tighter run, that little Echo Swing switch it's sweet.
Well, I'm actually going to jump in on this because I have been doing a fair amount of winter steelheading with all of you, and it's been great. One of my resolutions for this year, I don't even believe in resolutions, but one of my goals for this year is to become a better steelhead angler. So part of that is, come on, man. Part of that's fishing with you guys, and so I have really enjoyed, like Gabe said, the G2 Platinum from Beulah. I think for a mid-price point rod, it is a really sweet stick. I've got an old Winston, what were those, the B2X.
Yeah.
I know that it's a highly coveted fly rod amongst Spey people. The previous owner of this shop still tries to buy it off of me. And there are certain things I don't sell. You know what I don't sell, Zach?
Yeah.
I don't sell guitars.
Nope.
I don't sell fly rods. And I don't sell any of my cars.
Boats.
Oh, and boats. I don't sell boats either. So I have 4 things I don't sell. So that rod is not for sale, but that rod hasn't been fished in some time. So it's been the G2 Platinum Spey, and then I do like the Echo Full Spey. I feel like as
I think it's great.
As a fly rod, again, kind of mid to low price point. Maybe it's my shitty casting. I don't know what it is, but it is a rod that I have enjoyed casting this winter, and I probably will have the G2 Platinum and the Echo Full Spey in my daily repertoire. So, reels, anything particular? I know we covered reels in our summer.
Loud
You're
thoughts
asking the
save
wrong
lives.
people here.
Yeah.
If you want to land fish,
Yeah.
get yourself a nice seal
You're
drag
right.
reel. A Sage
Euro
Spey.
rod, is that what you said?
A Sage Spey or a Hatch, or any of those reels that are going to be nice with a sealed drag that you can clamp down. Full cage helps a ton. You don't want that running line to jump, wrap, you hook a fish, and your hook's bent out or you're snapped off.
What if you want to be cool?
If you want to be cool
You
and lose way more
You want
fish,
to twist the mustache up.
If you want to pee your pants.
yeah. If you want to wake
Miles
people up at
Davis.
camp, you can fish a clicker, lose a lot more fish.
But you'd be smiling.
What they're really saying is when you have those long days with no fish and nothing happening, just the peeling off of the line is enough to make people's heads turn and you feel like a big shot.
Yeah, I hung up on a rock today and it was like rap, rap. I loved it.
There is one other thing I will say about clickers that I do like. Some have, tensioning, but they're not going to adjust it that much. With drag reels, every once in a while you'll bump it wrong, and if you tighten it or loosen it, you could screw off a fish. With a clicker, grab it, and it's going to be basically the same. Even if there's a little tension tool, it's not going to adjust it so much to where a fish grabs and it's just like boink, or it's going to free spool. That is the one thing that I do really like about clickers.
It's consistent.
But sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you can learn how to fight a fish proper, like our grandpappies did, and using your palm or like on the hardies, you kind of gotta squeeze.
Yes.
And kind of gotta milk it. And
Oh my gosh, now we're blowing things, we're milking things. This is fantastic. This is not. I'm gonna check that box that says "not for children" on YouTube.
Yeah, they've never been.
Never been.
Yeah, just take away the option.
Yeah. For someone who's maybe getting into it, though, still a drag reel is probably the best bet for someone just getting into steelhead fishing. I for one don't like click and pawls. I don't like the sound of them. I go to fly fish because I want some peace and tranquility, which is hard to do with some of these guys on the water. But I don't know. They've never been my jam, so I'm a disc drag kind of guy, and it's all good for me. But if you are newer to steelhead fishing, that's probably the direction that you want to go. So before we get into the last components of gear for winter steelheading, I want to get into flies. So we will do that now. Okay, so we've covered everything from the type of water we're looking for. We've covered the gear. We've covered the lines. We've covered all that. Now let's get to the thing that you guys all love talking about, and that's the flies. So let's talk briefly difference between a tube fly and a shank fly. Which you prefer? Does it depend on the type of water again, or is it just a personal preference? And then let's get into the color of fly, because it is the most important. So who wants to jump on difference between tube and shank and why we select one over the other?
I want to hear you go, because I recently changed my mind and I want to figure out if I'm crazy or not. So I'd like you to go first.
Okay. So the big difference is a tube fly is tied on a tube and a shank fly is tied on a shank. That is it.
We can always count on you, Colby, for the greatest.
Thanks for coming. That's my TED Talk. So the tube, by design, without a bead, is weightless. It doesn't weigh very much. Whereas inherently by design, a shank fly is no longer neutrally buoyant. It has some weight to it, the shank. Without weight, the shank will get a little deeper because it's a little more weighted, but it depends on what you put on the front of that thing. You could put a small cone head, you could put an extra large dumbbell eye. It's dealer's choice on that. It's just a platform, really. Okay. And so some people like the shank, some people like the benefit of the shank, or some people like the way a hook will stay in like a stinger system on a shank. As opposed to maybe having it a little bit more loosey-goosey on a tube.
Do you notice any difference in the movement of fly a shank versus a tube? Is a tube going to have a little more movement than a shank typically, or is it about the same?
They're both just platforms, so it depends on what that fly is tied with and how much material they're trying to gob onto that SOB.
Look at that.
Is where it'll move or not. So if you overload it with too much material, which some commercial flies are guilty of that, it won't move. It ain't got no gas in it. Okay. But yeah, so it depends on how you tie it, whether it'll shimmy or not shimmy or what have you. So
Zach, you talked about you've kind of changed your approach. What was your approach and what have you gone to?
I've always liked tubes, and now I'm kind of moving a little bit more towards shanks, but it's also kind of how I hold them. The one problem I have is when it's windy and wet and your fingers are all clammy. Sometimes I'll reach into my pocket or into my box or my bag, whatever, for some. I would like to pick this tube fly, but I get all of these stuck to my hands, and that's been driving me nuts lately. So, but that's the only reason. I like how they move more, and you can switch out the hooks on all of these, but there's just something about if I hang up on a rock. Another thing, if you hang up on rocks, check your hooks. You want sharp hooks, and so you can have a hone, you can sharpen your hooks, or just carry them I'm actually starting to replace my hooks after I hang up on rocks or grab some sticks or catch a branch.
Hooks are cheap. Cut it off.
Hooks are cheap.
Put a new one on.
Absolutely. And so, so I've recently kind of gone or been tying more with shanks. It is more annoying. Tying with tubes is fun and easy. And I do like the tandem tubes on a lot of these, which you just tie a larger, for those of you who don't know, you're going to go through and you're going to just tie a larger loop because it's got a little tiny, just a whittle guy right here, so that the hook just kind of stays, they're both going the same direction. One's not going right, one's not going left.
So for the most part, I'm hearing tubes. How about you, Gabe?
Tubes, and then I know you touched on color. I'm going to contradict what you said with color is the most important thing.
I was joking about that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just curious last winter, and I was like, I want to try something stupid. So I grabbed a tube and just did a marabou tube, but I did a neon green shoulder with orange marabou, purple, and I threw so many weird colors together, like pink cone, black marabou, just all sorts of stuff. I'm like, if this catches a fish, I give up on color. I don't care. And I did. I think I caught actually 2 on that fly, and I was like, okay. So I don't really mind color. But to Zach's point, I love being able to switch hooks out super easy with tubes. Yeah. I lost a fish once from a dull hook before I ever thought about that. And now, I switch my hooks out all the time. So tubes are nice for that.
So you guys aren't prescribing you hear talk, and I think we touched on this in our summer steelhead. If it's a dark day, do this. If it's a bright day, do this. That's not really something that you're hitting on.
No.
Not necessarily every day.
Okay.
I think the one consideration, again, is dirty water and clear water.
Okay.
I do feel like, and you'll see this in the conventional world as well, when the water starts clearing up, you'll start downsizing. You may not go as loud, so louder colors, lots of flash, stuff like that. Let's say a fish has and every fish is going to be different between individuals, but also between the day or week or what have you, with temperature and what have you. I said what have you 3 times. But each fish has a threshold of stimulation, and you need to at least get into that window of stimulation. But if you have a very loud, crazy big, maybe overly flashy fly, you can exceed that and be off-putting. It's too much. So I feel like it behooves you to not be overdone when it's low and clear, but if it's high and dirty, you need to be a little louder to get those eyes.
Okay.
It's like picking somebody up at a bar.
Yeah.
You always have the best analogies.
You're looking to get that that kind of elicit something out of that fish without it being too much, and so even the gear guys will downsize things.
When you say downsize, you're talking the size of fly, color of fly, everything.
Yeah,
everything.
Literally everything.
Yeah, you're trying to be less off-putting. I mean, even when it's low and clear, shut the hell up. Don't slam the cooler. Walk a little quieter.
I got a hangover the next morning. I don't want to hear loud noises, see bright things.
Exactly. So you just be less.
Chill out.
Flash in the flies is one thing too. Different color flashes will reflect more or less. So that's one thing to put into consideration. If you have a bunch of silver flash on a super bright day, on a super clear day, it's going to be like the sun in their eyes. So that's something to put into consideration too.
All right, starting with you, Gabe, working down, your number 1 color preference.
Black.
Yep.
Black and blue, black and orange, black and pink. I don't know.
Okay. Colby.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
I've had days on the Sandy where I've caught one within one day, one on orange, one on purple, one on black, one on blue, all within the same day. And my client at the end of the day was like, I guess it doesn't matter. And I'm like, well, sometimes it doesn't. But then, sometimes it does. So I guess if I'm on the Sandy, I'm going to do orange or red, somewhere in that.
Okay.
But black and blue is a staple. If I'm on the coast, I think it's about the same. Whatever.
Okay. Zach?
I pick one color every season, and I kind of stick with it. I don't know why I'm like this, but this is my red year.
Okay, red year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've been fishing with Eric. All his fish have been on black and blue, so I think I'm gonna stick on the black and blue train and see how that goes.
Eric is a big black and blue supporter.
Yeah. Well, it's working for him.
Yes,
so.
it does. Yes, it does.
And I think Eric says something along the lines of you got to feel good about the fly you're fishing.
100%.
Absolutely.
And so if red is your color for
Not
the year, go with it.
Yeah, I
and
never fished it before, and then Marty Shepard was talking to me, gave me a red fly, went out and fished it that day. I caught a fish, and so I'm just like, so now I'm gonna fish red this year.
Now it's red.
Dak Hogan has something in his book about when he was guiding and he had clients, if a client would ask, do you think we should change flies? He's like, immediately,
Yep.
We're changing flies. And he would give them the box and say, what do you like? The fly that they pick, he would agree with 100% because they're going to fish it 10 times better. He knew it didn't matter, but to them, they're super confident in this fly, and they're going to fish it a lot better with that confidence.
Yeah. If you're fishing and you kind of, because every now and then we're going, you're just like, I'm not feeling this fly, cut it off immediately. Change it. You have to be feeling it. Mm-hmm. We've all stepped into runs when you have that fishy feeling, and most times, I don't get a fish. But I've never caught a fish when I didn't have that fishy feeling.
Yeah. So we talked a little about flies, difference between shanks and tubes. And Colby, you and I, again, we just filmed a video recently on how to tie all those knots, various different loop knots. So there's a link.
Check that out.
Yeah, there's a link in this
Somewhere.
Check that out. We've got 3 different knots that really are the go-to steelhead knots. So you want to tune into that. Last thing, any other items of gear that we have missed that are really a necessity in the winter?
Flask of whiskey.
Okay.
Joking. I would say depending, on your clientele. Again, I'm in guide mode, but like waiting staffs, extra change of clothes.
Particularly now, the rivers that you may think are different. And we've had a couple of times where
Just talking about it.
Yeah, you're knee deep. You take one step and you are chin deep. There's a lot of things got really dug out, and I wish I brought a waiting staff today to just poke around because I found some buckets.
Oh, I wish I had to change clothes the other day.
Yeah,
We talked to, and again, we have another video on fishing in winter and the gear. And we do talk about, Zach, you and I talk about specifically having a change of clothes. That's kind of a no-brainer.
Although I did fall in the other day, and I had a change of clothes. I didn't put them on. I was like, we're 2 hours to the takeout. That's
I'm just going to be miserable for 2 hours.
Yeah, so, bring a change of clothes. Use the change of clothes.
Use the change of clothes. But if you're looking for some cold weather hacks, we got a video on that, so make sure that you watch that. Anything else from a gear side that you guys think outside of warm food, warm drinks that warm you up, whatever, anything else that you guys can think of? Because these days can be unpleasant sometimes when you're swinging runs and there's not a lot of action going on. Anything else that makes the day better for you?
I'm so excited winter steelheading is here, and it sucks a lot.
It's terrible.
And
Embrace the suck.
It is terrible, and it's like my favorite, and I don't know why, but yeah, it can really suck out there. Just keep your head up.
Yeah.
A jet boil is a great thing to have.
Yeah.
I mean, again, we're talking about maybe being on the boat, unless you want to like really hike it in somewhere. But I've picked up, and these have been really useful, as little packets of miso soup.
Yeah.
Because you've already got your coffee cup, you've already got this, you already got that. Like, dump that in there with some hot water or ramen. Shout out Zento for getting us on the ramen game.
Cheesy ramen.
I'm
That's
going to
always
do a
good.
shout out real quick on those jet boils. Our friends at Pacific Upfitters, they have a ton of product on the jet boil side, various different
They
sizes
do.
that can really make a cold, miserable day feel a little less cold and a little less miserable. So
Take the edge off.
yeah, take the edge off. Gabe, you anything else on any gear?
Not really.
You guys, nets, no nets?
Oh, I mean, nets.
I want to jump in
Yeah.
before we land on nets.
Oh, jeez.
I want to say there are some tricks to staying a little warmer. Tucking in your base layers.
Yep.
So not just having your top shirt loose, but actually tucking that in under your waistband will keep more heat in. Utilizing a beanie like Zach's beanie or something heavy. Cover the ears, cover the head. That helps a lot. Being smart about your layers, whether they have they're naturally insulating, so wool is really, really helpful. Otherwise, you can go on a synthetic called Primaloft. That also helps as well. It's warm when wet, because we're going to get wet. So if you can layer appropriately, even if you do get damp or have a leak, you can still be warm.
Yeah.
And then if you're going to hike into a spot or row your butt off somewhere, take off your hottest layer. Don't get super sweaty and then get to your spot and like be really sweaty. Try and bleed some heat on the way there and then put your warm stuff on.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
Especially if you're trekking and you're hiking and you've put a mile in and you get out there and, we've got our fancy gear now and you get there and you're just like sweating and you're like the moment you stop moving.
It's breathable Gore-Tex, but it's not that breathable.
And the moment you stop moving, it's like, oh shit, I'm cold.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So
nets,
now we can talk about nets.
I appreciate that. Nets, I've been on some rivers recently, Steelheader. They are pretty spunky this time of year. They like to move quite a bit. And so, what's your guys' feelings on nets overall? Do you guys have nets that you are preferring?
Register. I'm a big fan of the net, at least as a boat angler and guide. I think nets make for fish photos, and fish photos do sell guide trips, but also it's easier on the fish.
Yes.
Nothing pains me more than watching someone bank a wild fish to run it up on the bank, to grab it, to take photos, to let it go. I think a net would make that easier. Or overplay it.
Just like, oh man, I don't have a net, so I'm going to just fight this thing until it has no air left in its lungs.
Yeah.
Not good.
I'm a fan of nets, but I think everyone should know how to land a fish without a net. That's just, it's going to happen. You should just suck it up and learn it.
When I first learned how to steelhead fish, no one carried nets, and it was just you tailed a fish, and now everyone, for the most part, is carrying nets. So, Zach, you carry a net?
I do.
And Gabe, you carry a net?
Everywhere.
And Gabe is the guy who's hiking in,
10 miles with a giant net.
A giant net. You'll never mistake who's on the river.
TikTok haircut.
TikTok hair. Yeah. We are pretty big fans of one net company, and who is that?
Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
Rising.
Them too.
Both of us. No, they're both excellent. Excellent choices.
But we do, most of you guys are carrying the Pacific Northwest Landing Net company. So thank you to them. They're a Pacific Northwest company, believe it or not. And we love supporting local businesses. Rising, you guys have great nets too. But we would recommend these fish. They're big. Winter steelhead
they're wild. They're native. They're beautiful.
And we want to land them quick. That's my big thing. Like, get them into the net quickly. Don't do what Colby's talking about, dragging them up onto the bank, getting silt into their gills. Don't be like, oh man, I don't have a net, so I gotta just play this thing till it's dead, because that's totally pointless. So get yourself a good net. We of course sell nets here. You can buy them online, but nets to me are an important tool. So without anything else you guys want to touch on winter steelhead?
Just go. I think too many people are like, I don't know if it was good or not. I don't know. And they put it off and they don't go. I would rather you go and find out it's not fishing, so that way you know the upper limit for your fishery, as opposed to just guessing. And the same goes for the opposite side. If it's low and clear, like whatever, go out, fish. You're not going to catch one from the couch, but you should know how things fish at the upper limit, lower limit, and just don't talk yourself out of not going.
I completely agree with that. Gabe, anything else for the good of the order? Zach?
Oh.
The last thing I want to say, and I do this in every video, I'm sitting here with 3 phenomenal guides. We also have Eric, we've got Spencer, we've got Matt, all steelhead guides, all love winter steelheading. They are sick and twisted human beings. And so if you want to embrace the suck, if you want to embrace misery, these are your guys. These are your guys to do it with, because they're miserable people to be around.
And misery loves company.
I'm joking, but you guys have openings, I know, on your winter steelhead schedule. We've got an awesome trip coming up with Travel Creel for coastal rivers. It involves staying at an Airbnb, all the food. Beverages are all included. It is a totally unique experience, so we'd love to get you signed up for that. But if that's not your cup of tea and you don't want to spend a ton of money, not that it's a ton of money, but you want to get out and learn some of these rivers and really understand what we're talking about in these videos, the fastest way to learn this is by going out with our guides, by spending time on the water with them, seeing the world through their eyes. It's one thing to watch a video on YouTube. It's a totally different thing to get on the water and see, like, oh, that's what you meant by speed of water. Oh, that's what you meant by a bucket. So I encourage you, please get out with these guys. Schedule guide trips with them. You're not going to be disappointed. Call DM. You're not going to be disappointed. And they really are some of the best people to spend time on the water with, even when I joke that I don't like spending time with any of them. But I love it. It is something I look forward to. Colby, we're going to be out on the water tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to that. So again, book these guys. We will have their information in the description of this video. Again, we appreciate you tuning in to another episode of Fly Fishing Unfiltered. Make sure you hit that subscribe button right there, because we have a ton of content coming up and a lot of videos that have already hit. We appreciate you, and we will see you next time on Fly Fishing Unfiltered.
Namaste.